Hi, and welcome to another episode of Bunker Banter. I'm your host, Sergeant LaFavors, the local career counselor here for the Whitewater Valley. A little bit different show today. We're going to be talking a little Q&A. We're going to call it, Freedom Talk Wednesdays, and we're going to kind of set aside some time to answer some of your questions for those who are viewing us on YouTube and viewing us on other social media platforms. As always, you can reach out to me. You can come to the Armory down by Roberts Park if you're here locally, or you can reach out to me by email and by phone. But first off, let me just begin by saying a lot of these questions were gathered over the course of about 3 to 4 months. I'd spoken with several high schoolers of different grade levels from Centerville, from Union County, from Connorsville here locally, Rushville, I know, Boo, and then we've got Lincoln High School as well. So all in all, these questions are going to be hopefully designed to not only relate to you and your situation, but hopefully always give you insight into what we do here in the Guard, and hopefully give you that extra push to where you can make the right decision for you and for your future. So first question we've got out of Connorsville High School. We've got from one of the locals, Jamel Carter. How much, and he joined as a 68 Whiskey, so he'll join as a combat medic most recently. But he asked, how much can I further medical knowledge within the Guard? And it's a really great question. It's really designed to hopefully, the 68 Whiskey MOS is designed to give people more of a understanding of the medical field, right? As a combat medic, you are responsible for treating wounds and treating the wounded in a combat situation, in a combat scenario. So overall, you're going to get the basic necessities, the basic knowledge of how to treat wounds, how to triage, how to call in a 9-line, which is basically a medical evacuation by helicopter. And so all those encompassing 68 Whiskeys, combat medics come back from training at Fort Sam Houston in Texas with the equivalency of EMT training. And they are cleared to go and work as an EMT here locally with their community if they so choose, or they can go to college and further if they are interested in furthering their medical career. A lot of the times I've seen combat medics become nurses, combat medics become firefighters, EMTs, paramedics. The National Guard specifically gives you a path, it gives you a career trajectory to where the job that you choose helps in the civilian side. So specifically for 68 Whiskey, for combat medics, that's what you'll find. You will find that it furthers your medical knowledge, it furthers your understanding, helps you if you do pursue it in the college level for nursing or for any other medical degree. And at the end of the day, you have really, really good skills that help you hopefully save a life someday. Not just in the military side, but you could be driving around and have to save a life. And so to be prepared for that and to have that knowledge is very, very vital. Our next question comes from Wesley Wise. He's senior out of Connorsville High School, football wrestler. He was one of my first enlistments back in October. And so Wesley asks, does the Guard cover all college expenses? And how does ROTC work for kids who are going to college? And so really great question from Wesley there. The biggest thing is with ROTC, I'll start with ROTC just because it's a very simple answer. ROTC is a 4-year program. It can be at really any education institution. Ball State, Purdue, IU have those ROTC programs, and they have it available. It's a 4-year program that puts you on track to commission at the end in the completion of a 4-year degree. Part of the stipulation with commissioning as an officer, the normal route would be OCS, is what we call OCS. It is Officer Candidate School. That normal route for OCS training requires beforehand that you obtain a 4-year degree. There are some other stipulations that go with that. If you are interested in learning more, I can get you in touch with our local officer recruitment officer, who is Master Sergeant Vu, Hawk Vu, here locally. So at the end of the day, though, the idea for ROTC is that while you're completing your 4-year degree, instead of completing it and going to OCS, which I believe runs 13 weeks. And then after that, obviously you become a commissioned officer. But then with ROTC, while you're doing your college education, you are leveling up, so to speak. In just simple terms, you're moving up in the ranks. And you're getting more responsibility. You're getting the training that you would get at OCS. It is just drawn out over the course of 4 years. So with ROTC, it is a very good program, especially if you're going to college as a student. It saves you a lot of time, saves you a lot of effort. It actually could help kind of pay a little bit more for programs or extracurricular activities or school expenses that you might have that the Guard doesn't necessarily cover. And going into that, the Guard does pay for college. And how that works is pretty simple. With a 6-year contract or a 3-year contract, you will have several different options. Those options can range anywhere from bonus to the kicker to whatever it may be. You have several different options from a 3-year and a 6-year standpoint as a non-prior enlisted. They get specific, and as you ask, hey, I want to do a 3-year, what comes with it? That's something we can sit down and talk about. With a 6-year, there's a little bit more. There's a little bit different options there, but they all have a reasoning behind it. So with college benefits specifically, the way the Guard pays for college, regardless of your commitment, is every military service member that joins the military gets what's called FTA, Federal Tuition Assistance. That FTA covers a portion of college benefits. It covers a portion of how long it takes you to go to college. So 4 years, FTA can cover almost 2, up to 2. So you can get about halfway there just on the federal tuition assistance. That's why most branches that you talk to, Marine Corps, Air Force, Active Duty Army, will tell you that they can pay for college. In reality, they can, but the technicality that is, it's very specific because they can to a certain extent. And then you're left with the regular expenses of finishing out the rest of your degree, and then you have to either pay that through scholarships or pay that out of pocket. So yes, you can, but in actuality, there's really no way for active duty components to pay 100% of tuition costs. The way the National Guard works is, since we are state funded, since we are a state organization, we have several different pools of money that we can pull from. First, you do the FTA. You have the FTA, you use the FTA. Once that is expired and it goes away, at that point you then dip into what's called the National Guard Supplemental Grant. That grant gives you the ability to pay for the remainder of your tuition, and meanwhile, the entire time you are in college, you're getting paid drill money to go 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year to do drill. You're getting paid to do that. On top of that, you're getting several different other options if you're eligible for that, such as BAH. And then on top of that, you can typically find that a lot of college students will have the eligibility for the 48-month plan of not being involuntarily deployed. And so there's some criteria that have to be met with that. There's specifics that I can answer direct from the memorandum. However, with your memo stating that you're non-deployable for 48 months on top of a BAH, which is basic allowance for housing, and that is basically, it's based off your zip code. It's additional funding that is paid out to you through your drill check and through your direct deposit that the Army pays out to you based off where you live and the cost of living in that area. And so at the end of the day, not only are you getting your expenses paid for, you're getting a full ride, but you're getting paid to go to school. You're getting extra money. The only two things that the National Guard Supplemental Grant does not cover is, the biggest one is room and board. Doesn't cover room and board. However, if you math it up and you do a place like IU for the lowest and the cheapest housing that they have on campus, runs you about $5,600. Okay, typically the average IU student that's in the National Guard can make on average about $1,000 a month. with all the benefits that they have accessible to them and all the benefits that come into play there. Again, if you wanted more information on that, if you needed more information on the specifics of that, I can give you more information on that and we can talk more in detail up at the Armory over the phone, but it's just very time consuming to get through that now. However, I can assure you the average IU student going to college will make about $1,000 a month. After that, if you do the math simply on semester-wise, you can pay almost $4,000 for one semester's worth of room and board, and you only really have to come up with $1,700. Not very many full-time college students that go to such a prestigious school, D1 college like IU, can say the same thing unless they have their own money that they're able to front up for those costs, and they don't have to worry about paying for college. So that's really the only thing that would be considered something that I wish we had to cover, but unfortunately room and board just isn't covered. So with Wesley's question in particular, yes, the National Guard pays for college, and they do it in two different ways. The National Guard Supplemental Grant and FTA, whereas other active duty components can only do it through FTA, and that's why they can't really pay 100% of your college, but we can. And it's very, very particular. I forgot to mention this for Wesley. It is any public paid college, so any publicly funded college in the state of Indiana. So examples would be Ball State, Purdue, and IU, and there are a few other examples, Vincennes, Indiana State. So it has to be a publicly funded college institution here in the state. We have funding for private institutions. It is very specific, so that would be something that I would have to talk to an individual about if they had more questions about that. But in simple terms, we do cover some, not all, of private. We have some funding available for private institutions and for people wanting to go to private school. So with that, the question that I have that has really been the highlighted question, I've had at least 17 students reach out or talk to me or have a conversation with me, and they talked about this one particular question, and it kept coming up, obviously differently worded. However, it kept coming up. And for most of you, if you decide to join, if you decide to answer the call that only 1% of Americans answer and join, you will eventually go to basic and AIT. The biggest thing I get from everybody is, what is basic and AIT like? And what I will say is, when I joined up in 2017, I went to Fort Benning, Georgia in 2017. I went to basic in January, February time. So it was still winter. Went through 8 days of reception, got assigned to my platoon, the company that was training me, Alpha 148, and training started. After the 8 days of reception, training started. And so typically that's the process for everybody, still is to this day. You will leave out from Fort Wayne Airport. If you were to say enlist with us, you leave out from Fort Wayne Airport, head to your basic training site. You do reception, which is basically them doing a full checkup on you to make sure nothing's changed, no new tattoos, no updated information, make sure your pay is straight. So that way when you do start training, they don't have to stop, interrupt, pull you out, and fix your packet. So that's vital. And once you get done with reception, you're assigned to your training company, and a busload of people are taken out and bussed over to their training site, and you're assigned quarters, and from there you begin your training. A lot of what initially happens in the first stages of training has changed. I will say, if you're looking forward to next month's episode, I will be bringing in a former recruiter. Most of you know her, Wally, and hopefully she can shed some light. If not, look forward for May. In May, we will be doing a special episode bringing in Jamel Carter, Wesley Wise, and Aiden Mays to talk about what allowed them to kind of make the decision to join. And then in June, we'll be talking with soldiers who just got back from training. And so right there, if most of you are interested to know exactly, in June, we're likely going to see a lot of guys who had just got back from training and can give you a fresh perspective on it. However, in the general sense, you will conduct PT, you'll wake up in the morning, you'll do personal hygiene. Once you do PT in the morning, you'll head back, you'll shower. Usually you can come back in PTs if you have something that is related to physical activity. Otherwise, you'll get into what is called your utility uniform, which is the OCP pattern uniform that we wear regularly. You'll then form back up in what's called the CQ area. It's command quarters area. If I'm wrong on the abbreviation, somebody told me wrong. And from there, you are marched to the chow hall where you receive your chow. And then you eat very quickly because you have a very full day of training. From there, typically, they will either take you back to wherever they need you to be in to teach class, to teach any information they have for you in a classroom setting or in an indoor setting. They'll take you back. If not, they'll have buses standing by to, after the completion of chow, they'll bus you to whatever location they need to do that specific training for that day. I can tell you every day is booked. Every day it's move, move, move. It's very quick. It's very fast paced. But at the end of all of it, and you can ask any service member out there, at the end of all of it, you will look back and say that basic training was the easiest moment of your life in military service. Because all you have to do is shut your brain off, listen, and do. And drill sergeants will do everything else. They will assist you in every other way. And so with basic training, that's the gist of it. 9 weeks, 4 days. And from there, it is all-encompassing and all important to focus on the training, get through the stages. And once you're out, you're out. You go to AIT. AIT is Advanced Individual Training. It's schoolhouse training. It is your job-specific training. From there, you will focus mainly and exclusively on the tasks of your job. 68 Whiskey, Combat Medic. 91 Bravo, All-Wheeled Mechanic. 15 Quebec, Air Traffic Controller. Allied Trade Specialists, welders pretty much. You will do specific things within your job functions. And so it's important to know that a lot of that is a little bit more relaxed. An AIT schoolhouse doesn't typically have drill sergeants. They have instructors who are subject matter experts, senior level NCOs, non-commissioned officers that are sergeants, E5s, E6s, staff sergeants, E7s, sergeants first class. So in the gist of all of your training, AIT is, I can't give you a specific time frame just only because it is job specific on the time frame. So for all you students out there, for any parents out there that are curious about that commitment to training, that's the commitment. 9 weeks, 4 days, for sure. And then a minimum of whatever your AIT is after that. Once you've completed basic and AIT, the greatest part about the National Guard is you come back home, you live here, you work here, you serve here. We don't pluck you, we don't pull you from your community, we don't pull you from your family, we don't send you off, and we definitely don't stop you from doing what you do best, which is taking care of you and taking care of your family and starting your civilian career. So it's really empowering to be able to join the Guard and have the opportunity to serve, but it's also extremely rewarding. The benefits speak for themselves. The Guard sells itself. I can stand up here and talk for 40 minutes about anything pertaining to the Guard and answer all the questions and go in depth and have every single question answered. But it still wouldn't do it enough of how big and how encompassing the Guard is in benefits and in opportunities and what it offers you. So for those who are wanting to learn more information, for those who have any questions, for those who are interested in just kind of getting a grasp of some things that maybe I didn't cover. I know I talk a little fast. I know I have a little bit of a fast-paced conversation style, so if it was hard to follow, I do apologize, but you are more than welcome to reach out, and you are more than welcome to talk to me face-to-face, over the phone, and hopefully I can better answer your questions and get you the information you need so you can make the best decision for you and your family. That is the important part. This is a part-time obligation with full-time benefits. And in the world that we live in today, with so much uncertainty in the job markets, so much uncertainty in career fields, there is no better place to be than grounded within an organization that has the resources consistently that can help you better your life, better your career, maybe even start a new career. But help you and help your family stay grounded, stay safe, stay secure financially, and be able to kind of live your life without the fear of the uncertainty that we face. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, you're more than welcome to. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for the questions. Please, please, please feel free to ask more. Send them to me. Text them to me. I'll be sure to include them in my next segment for this episode. Hopefully the next one's a little bit more informative. But I appreciate you guys listening to another episode. I hope to see you next time. But stay safe, Connorsville, and go Spartans. Hi, I'm Sergeant LaFavors. Thanks for watching Bunker Banter. Real quick, to introduce myself, I just want to let you guys know if there's any questions you have about the National Guard, any concerns, any interest, you want to explore options. You may seem lost, not sure what the next step in life is. You could be a high school senior, you could be out of high school for a couple years. Regardless of the situation or the circumstances, I want you to feel safe and comfortable to come talk to me anytime. I'm down by the Armory by Roberts Park here in Connorsville. You can always talk to me over the phone, via text, email, and we'll be providing that here at the bottom of the screen. So if there's anything that I can do for you, please feel free to reach out, and thanks for watching.